Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is lesson 437. Alright, the title of today's lesson is the difference between squeal, shriek, shrill, scream, screech, and squeak. Alright, I'm mostly doing this because some students asked me to do this one. There'll be a lot of crossover in this video, between these sounds. So sometimes some could be used in other situations. But I'm going to try to give you hints where we're more likely to use one than another. Okay, so let's start. If someone or something squeals, they make a long, high-pitched sound. We often associate it with sounds of small children, like little infants. Sometimes when they're rolling around, they're I can't really do it perfect, but something much higher than that. My voice is too deep for that. But basically, that's the idea. Especially infants, certain animals such as pigs. Yeah, we always do it with pigs. I'm sure you've seen this in the movie. You try to pick up a pig and they're squealing all over the place. They're really, really loud. And noisy, worn out breaks. All right. Squeals tend to be prolonged. Right? This one thing about the squeal is it's not short. It's usually longer. It's a longer sort of a sound, or basically. So it's a longer, actually I should even just say it's a longer sort of a scream. This is one point. Basically all of these, squeal, shriek, shrill, screech, and squeak, could really, technically they are all types of scream. So scream is the more general word for all of these. But there's certain times where we only use scream more often too. All right, let's continue. If a scream is high-pitched and short, now, so remember, the squeal is longer, shriek is short. We often describe it as a shriek. It is usually is usually sharp, so it's really, really high. Sometimes you see it like in a book, they might describe it as eek, Again, I don't know if I'm doing it well, but it might be like eek. So short, it's short. That's one of the points. So it's not prolonged, it's not longer. But often with fright, we use it a lot when we're scared. Somebody might, or overexcited. Yes, you might use it with that. So the shorter sounds would probably be more like a shriek, eek, eek, whatever, something like that. So a shriek could be used to describe high sounds of some birds, okay. Frights, again, things that scare you. Some machine noises sometimes could be described this way. All right, let's continue. Scream tends to be the loudest. Now, a scream could also just be in the yell sort of category. Does not have to be high-pitched at all. All the rest of these up here pretty much have to be high-pitched, but a scream doesn't have to be. Now, it could also be high-pitched, but it doesn't have to be high-pitched. Screams tend to be the loudest, associated, with fear. Sometimes we scream with fear, but it could be like that, where it's a little deeper. It doesn't have to be high-pitched. To get attention, a lot of times we'll just yell loudly to somebody. We call that a scream. Hey, what are you doing? Get over there! Hey, something like that. And that could be a scream, too. So get it. And the others we don't usually use to get attention, or our purpose wasn't to get attention, even though with those screams you may get attention anyway, but that's what we do. When we're trying to get somebody's attention, we can say scream. Negative situation, when you're fighting, you're angry, you're yelling at somebody, these could definitely be screams too. We tend to use scream more with people. And again, when we say scream, we're not emphasizing so much on describing the type of sound. Where with these ones, with a squeal and shriek, you're really focusing on the high pitch sound. Scream is not necessarily doing that. It's a more general term. Okay, good. All right, now shrill. Shrill is more often used as an adjective. Okay, thus, a shriek or a scream could be shrill, okay? It is usually high-pitched and sharp. So, for example, we could say a shrill cry. So, I think there is, you could find shrill as a verb in a dictionary, but the use is kind of old. We don't hear it that much or anymore used in this way. We tend to use shrill more as an adjective. Okay, let's continue. Screech. All right. To make a loud, unpleasant, sounds, basically. Especially if a person is high-pitched and annoying. Yeah, so somebody's voice could be screeching. So the key part about screech is unpleasant and annoying. Very unpleasant. We do use it with, we also use this one with tires too. Like if the tires screech, or something like that. Coming to a stop. All right, now squeak. All right, now squeak is back to short again. A short, high-pitched sound used especially with like door hinges. So it doesn't have to be fear. It could just be things could squeak a lot. Like a door hinge could squeak as you open and close it. That has nothing to do with fear or excitement or anything like that. Wheels on carts could squeak also. Shoes, if they get wet, sometimes might have a little squeak later on. Small animals such as mice tend to be squeak. So it's a lower, but it's still high pitched, but yet it sounds a little bit on the weaker side because it's probably coming from like a smaller animal. All right, and let's just give you some examples. She squealed with surprise when she opened the door to discover a surprise party. Yeah, we could use it that way. The pig squealed when the boy tried to grab it. Yeah, again, we definitely associate squeals with pigs or hogs or any animals along that line. The brakes squealed when he tapped the brake pedal. Okay, you could say that. She shrieked in pain as they applied the stinging ointment. So fear, pain, maybe they put the ointment on and it was a hurt. Maybe there was some infection there. And so, okay, good. She shrieked with laughter. So it could be the opposite way too, like excitement or laughter. She shrieked with laughter as she was being tickled. Okay. All right, let's continue. She screamed to get his attention. Again, this just could be just a loud yell. Could be scream. You're not focusing on describing the sound as much, where the others, again, are more clear about describing the type of scream. She screamed when she saw a snake. Again, this is just a general one. We don't know. Was it more like a shrill? Was it more like a shriek? Was it more, like a squeal? It could have been any of those. Okay, let's continue. A shrill whistle by that policeman caught his attention. So again, we tend to use it more as an adjective here. She has a shrill voice. Okay, let's continue. The tires screeched as he hit the brakes hard. Yeah, so it tends to be a little bit longer. We do use screech for that, especially when it's very unpleasant. And again, when we use screech, we're really emphasizing how unpleasant it is. More so than a squeal, even though squeal tends to be longer too. Okay. The hinges squeaked as he opened the door. Again, we often say hinges squeak. The mouse squeaked as it was chased away. Okay. Again, I hope this was helpful. I hope you can understand and know when you might use one more likely than use one of the other ones. But there will be some crossover with this. Anyway, thanks for your time. Thanks for your effort. Hope it was very informative. Bye-bye.